my ex-girlfriend Vicky broke up last March. I'll be honest, I pretty much ignored every red flag until I possibly couldn't. She would get violent when we would have disagreements. She'd throw things across the room, break my Xbox, cut the laces off of my shoes, and just a bunch of crazy shit. Well, I had to finally break up with her, and that was messy. Vicky lived with me, and I had to get my landlord and the police involved to have her removed from the premises. It was a very nasty breakup. A few months after that whole fiasco, I started to see this other girl, Kiara, who worked with me. She was the complete 180 of Vicky. She was kind, caring, and just overall a great person. After a few months of seeing each other regularly, things started to become serious, and I was soon planning to ask her to be my girlfriend. It was a Saturday night, and I was having Kiara over to make dinner and just to hang out. I was boiling the pasta when there was a knock at my apartment door. I figured it was just Kiara and yelled from the kitchen that it's unlocked and to come in. A few minutes went by and Kiara did not come in. And I thought maybe she did not hear me, so I turned the burner down on low and went to my front door. When I opened it, my life was turned upside down. Standing in front of me was what I thought was Kiara at first, but her face was loose, almost like she was wearing a mask of herself. And that's when I noticed blood was dripping from her chin, and that's when I noticed that Kiara's eyes were not right. They were Vicky's eyes, and the person standing at my door then pulled at their face, and it came off. Vicky was standing there with Kiara's face in her hand and blood all over her face. Vicky looked at me and said the words that still haunt me to this day. She said, "I'll always be your girlfriend, even if I have to change faces." And that's when she started to laugh hysterically. I instinctively tackled her to the ground. I thought she was going to resist, but she didn't. She just kept laughing. When the police finally showed up, we discovered the grisly details. Vicky had showed up to Kiara's apartment that night and killed her with a knife. She then proceeded to slice her face off and wear it, pretending to be her, like some fucked up Texas Chainsaw wannabe, and wore her face over to my place. Vicky got 30 years in an institution, which is bullshit if you ask me. She knew exactly what she was doing and deserves the death penalty. Ever since this happened, I've been single. Honestly, I don't think I'll ever be able to date again. Thanks for listening. I'll try to keep this as short and simple as I can. Last year, I broke up with my ex-boyfriend Carter. He was abusive from the very start of the relationship. If I did not bow down to his every demand, I would get hit. Friends of mine would notice the bruises, but like a dumbass, I would just play it off like I'd fallen down or accidentally hurt myself. Well, when Carter gave me a fat lip because I did not have the bed made one morning, that's when I knew that I had to leave him. I should have left him from day one, but I guess I always thought that he would change. But when he struck me on the mouth, I knew that if I did not leave him then, that he might end up killing me. So I broke up with him. The alarming part about it was, he was very calm. He did not yell or hit me or anything. He just said okay. Maybe 2 weeks after the breakup, I was coming home from my apartment late one night from work, when I saw that my apartment door was wide open. I instantly knew that this was not good. I always kept my door locked and would never leave it open for the entire day. And the only other person who had a key to my place was Carter, because I stupidly never got the key back from him when I broke up with him. I walked inside cautiously and saw Carter sitting at my kitchen table. He was sitting in a chair with my cat Lorenzo on his lap, petting him. I told him that he needs to leave right now or I'm calling the police. Carter stood up with Lorenzo in his hands, smiling, and said, "I broke his heart, and now he's going to break mine." He literally snapped Lorenzo's neck and then threw him across the room like a rag doll. Even from this distance, I could smell alcohol, and I knew that I had to get away fast. I sprinted out of my apartment and back into my car. I had just clicked the automatic locks when Carter slammed into my car, banging on my window, screaming that he's going to kill me. I'll be honest, I was bawling my eyes out. I was so terrified. I was searching for my cell phone when I realized that I had dropped it running back to the car. Carter was hitting my window so hard that it was starting to crack. He just kept yelling that it was going to kill me. Just then, someone from behind Carter shouted for him to get on his knees. I looked up and saw my neighbor, Mr. Truman, aiming a shotgun at Carter. I guess Carter was frightened because he stopped smashing my window and got on the ground. Mr. Truman said to call the police and kept the gun aimed at Carter. Carter ended up getting arrested for breaking and entering, killing my cat Lorenzo, and a string of other break-ins in the area. Apparently, after we broke up, he just went off the deep end and started robbing people's houses, which isn't surprising due to the fact that he's a complete maniac. Either way, I'm glad that he's in jail and I do not have to deal with him again. In my 28 years of life, this was literally the worst breakup that I've ever experienced. I know this story will paint me as a horrible person, but please do not judge me too hard. Last July, my best friend of over 20 years, Leah, died. It was ruled that she had killed herself, according to the police report, via gunshot, which was just baffling to all of us because Leah had never exhibited any type of depression or symptoms of wanting to harm herself. Well, she was dating a good childhood friend of mine at the time, Gavin. When we both heard the news about Leah, I guess it just both shook us to our core. We started hanging out more just to comfort each other, but our friendliness soon turned into something more. And this is why I feel like an asshole. About 2 months after Leah's death, Gavin and me were full-on dating each other. I know it's messed up, but Gavin was handsome, charming, and stoic, something that I always looked for in a guy. Well, I guess karma is real, and you sow what you reap. A few weeks after me and Gavin had started dating seriously, he was at my apartment one night. We were watching some true crime show on Netflix when there was pounding at my front door. It was like 5 police officers armed to the teeth with guns, and they were there to arrest Gavin. I kept asking what was happening as they handcuffed him and threw him in the back of a police car. They weren't able to tell me why, but I found out the next morning. I was told by a friend of my father who works at the police station that Gavin was arrested for the murder of Leah. Leah's parents begged the police department to keep doing research into their daughter's death. They kept saying that their daughter would never kill herself. Well, it turns out they were right. One of the investigating officers found that there was none of Leah's fingerprints on the gun that was used. Instead, the only fingerprints they found were Gavin's. When confronted with this evidence, Gavin admitted to the crime. Apparently, Leah was planning on breaking up with him, and his ego could just not take the rejection. For real, I am the shittiest friend alive. I cannot believe I dated my best friend's boyfriend, who ended up being the one who murdered her. I actually threw up for 3 days straight because of the guilt and betrayal. I kissed and dated the man who murdered my best friend. I'll never be able to live with myself. Please, don't judge me too hard. Goodbye.